In the last video, we got a better idea of what is going on with the useState hook right here. Remember, this is all about getting a functional component to be able to use component level state. We've got the initial value being passed to useState. We've got the current value as the first argument, or the first element inside this array. And then we've got a function that can change this piece of state as the second element inside the array. Besides that, state works just as you are used to. Anytime you update the state value, your component is going to automatically re-render itself with that new value. Now that we've got our app component together, we're now going to focus on putting together the rest of our application. So here's going to be the breakdown of how our app's going to work. Remember, we've got our app component, and then we've got the resource list. Now we're going to do things a little bit dissimilar to how we did them in the past. By that, I mean that inside of our app component, we're going to pass down the currently selected resource as a prop to the resource list component. And then we will make the resource list be responsible for reaching out to our API and fetching the given resource. We're going to first build out the resource list as a class-based component. And as we build it, we're going to very quickly run into some kind of nasty issues that we're going to have to deal with. And you're going to see that dealing with these issues is kind of challenging inside of a class-based component. But once we refactor over to a functional component and use the hook system, solving these issues is going to be far easier. All right, so let's get to it. Inside of my code editor, I'm going to find my components directory, and inside there, I'm going to create a new file called resourcelist.js. And then inside of here, we're going to import React from React. I'm going to create a class-based component called resourceList that's going to extend React component. I'll define my render method. Inside there, I'll return a div. I'll leave it empty for right now. And then I'll do an export default of resource list. Let's now flip back over to our app component, and we're going to show the resource list inside there and pass down the currently selected resource as a prop. So back inside of app.js, at the top, I will import resource list from resource list. And then rather than just printing out the currently selected resource, I'm going to print out resource list. I'm also going to make sure that I communicate the currently selected resource as a prop down to the resource list component. So as a prop right here, I'm going to say resource is resource. And remember, this variable right here is our piece of component level state. It is going to always be a string of either posts or to-dos. I'm going to save the app.js file. I'm then going to flip back over to resource list, and for right now, let's just make sure that we can print out the currently selected resource inside of here. So I'll put a set of curly braces, and I'll say this.props.resource like so. I'll then save this file as well, and we'll flip back to the browser and just do a quick test. So back over here, I see posts. If I click on to-dos, I see the text to-dos instead, and I can very easily toggle between the two. So this is business as usual when it comes to updating state inside of our app component. Remember, anytime we update state, we re-render this component and any component that it shows underneath it. So whenever we call setResource, we are updating our state inside of the app component. That's going to rerun this function. We're going to get the new value of resource right here. We're going to re-render resource list, and we'll pass down the updated resource. And remember, that's going to be a string of either posts or to-dos. Okay, so this looks pretty good. Now let's take a quick pause right here. When we come back to the next section, we'll make sure that the resource list can make a request over to our JSON placeholder API and fetch either the list of posts or to-dos. So quick break, and I'll see you in just a minute.